Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Drucie at Carmouche. I'm going to be having a session with Mr. Martel Leon. We've been seeing each other for the last 2 months weekly, and we have a level of understanding that's going to be incorporated in this video. So I'm going to just touch bases with asking him basically how his status is at this time, being that he just recently transitioned to the Colorado area after a failed marriage, if you want to say. He had to re reestablish everything for him to get going here. So that's where we're starting at today. Mr. Leon, how are you doing today?
I think it's okay.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about where you at mentally, emotionally? How are you feeling about the transition and how are things going in that area?
You can picture an island on the ocean, tranquil water, one palm tree with a cool breeze.
Okay.
That's kind of where I feel most of the days. Every now and again there's a storm, but they pass. It's lonely, but it's peaceful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were having difficulty getting your credentials established the last few times we talked, and
Mhm,
you were working on it.
mhm.
Has there been any progress with that?
I'm a citizen again.
Can you elaborate on that?
I can prove who I am. I have my ID. I have my social security card, which means, by the way, if you don't have those, you don't exist. I have those now, so things are rolling. That's how I was able to get the job. So that's a good thing.
Can you explain to me a little bit? Because when you talk to me about the struggle with getting your credentials, and because you're from another state, you were living in another state, so
Hmm.
you was having a hard
Hmm.
time getting everything connected with the system.
Hmm.
Uh, so it seemed like you were a little bit. There's high levels of anxiety when you was going through that. So, how are you feeling right now since you got that together?
Because it's something not to worry about anymore. But it's you 34, 35, 36 years old, and you can't prove who you are because of two pieces of paper.
Right.
It's frustrating. And then when you have one proof of life, because that's what your birth certificate is, and you can't get nothing done with that, it's like, man, what the HE double hockey sticks.
Wow.
And once it finally does come together, it's like, man, I did all of this for these little pieces of paper, but it makes life easier.
Okay. So you said to me that you had started working,
Right?
which you needed those
To
credentials
get to
to
work.
start working. So how are you right now with that?
When you get into a job that you've had other jobs that like they all play a piece of this new job.
Right.
So it's like you have a muscle memory. Your body already knows what to do, but you just mentally get over the first day jitters.
Uh huh.
After that, it's just all downhill. Like, I enjoy the job, and plus I get to have a lot of face to face experiences with my customers. So I like to run my mouth, so that works out a
I've
lot.
noticed that you're very interactive. So that's a good signs that you've gotten that together and you're feeling good about yourself again. So has that brought some peace to the resolution of what you're transitioning from, or is it bringing peace into?
I don't think of transitioning from one place to another. It's more I'm walking to the place I'm supposed to already been.
Okay.
But in order to do that, you got to have a foundation. And every pebble leads to stones, and every stone leads to blocks, and blocks leads to castles. So
Okay.
one day at a time.
Okay. Do you have any outside support other than
My
our
mom
sessions?
here, my friends, my couple of friends. I have a lot of associates here, but I only have two or three people I can really say are friends
Okay.
because they're doing something for themselves, and
Okay.
they're like, "Hey, man, you could do better." That's a friend.
Okay.
Otherwise, yeah, I can say I do. I have a good support system. Plus, if I ever really need it, I can call the couple of cousins and whatnot I have back home. So
Okay. So the holiday just passed by, and how was that for you?
it was great. I I've gotten to the point where holidays aren't like a lonely thing. It's another day. As long as you got one or two good people to spend it with, you got a good day.
Okay.
And when you're alone, it's still not a bad thing because you're alive to celebrate the day yourself. So it stopped being a lonely thing a while back.
Okay. That's good. So did you have a good meal?
Yeah.
Were you like everyone else? You were so stuffed that it just
No, I stopped before I got there, and then we went to go walk afterwards to make sure we didn't get there. because
Okay.
that Thanksgiving fat's hard to get off. I don't, and maybe because Christmas comes right after that, but I don't know. It's just
Right.
hard.
Right. Well, you look like you're in good spirits compared to when we first started meeting, and I applaud you for the steps that you have taken to get your life established.
Mhm.
Can you tell me a little bit more about where you're at personal wise with the transition from the relationship to marriage and gaining ground with yourself as in with relationships now and your understanding about life now? How is that working for you?
Every day is a learning process. You learn something new, whether you by yourself or whether you're around people. You know, there's one person that I'm holding a little more regards to compared to everyone else, but I think the reason why is because she's also trying to work on herself.
Okay.
And I find a strength in that. Like I see that I recognize I'm not perfect, so I'm working on me. She recognizes she's not perfect, so she's working on her.
Okay.
But it's good to just have at least one person to talk to, other than family, because that's always there. Family's there, and sometimes they give you great advice. Sometimes they're too close. Sometimes they're not close enough, but they're there to give you advice. But it having someone else there just to bounce feelings off of sometimes, or just to be there for them, because it's not a matter of wanting to be with somebody. When you're a good man and a good woman too, you miss being good to somebody. And it
Right.
sounds weird, I know, but like
Right.
you miss having someone there to do the little things for.
Okay. Totally understand. So we shared in previous sessions that there was a lot of complications with family, a lot of hurts, a lot of
Mhm.
disappointments, and whatnot. So when you speak to them now, do you rationalize the conversation where it's not being taken in personally and hurtful like it used to be, and just like taking what's needed and throwing away everything else?
But yeah, I don't throw away everything else. But I've stopped taking things to the heart. But
Right.
that takes time. It takes
Okay.
time and practice. But yeah, I'll start taking things to the heart. And when it comes to the extended family, like the ones back home, I just feel bad for them. Like, wow, y'all just don't realize how stuck y'all are.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Like Jesus, I left Louisiana thinking I was a positive person, and then it wasn't until reflecting and seeing like, man, I was really negative. Now I can see I can say I'm a positive person, but back then, nah.
Totally understand. But you know that we're both from Louisiana, so I can totally understand. Um, so, can you tell me a little bit more about uh, the situation with the children? Because we were talking about that last time.
Hmm?
Have you been able to communicate with the children?
Well, last I spoke with the dad, the babies are fine. The two girls, I'm not sure what's going on with my ex-wife and her mom, but they've always had a back and forth relationship. Like, it's terrible. So
Okay.
I'm not sure where they're standing at right now, and I'm just giving her a space so that way she knows I'm there. If she needs to talk, or hey, if you need advice. But in that regards, that I don't have much advice to give because, well, I'm working on my relationship with my mom.
Right. I understand.
But theirs is just toxic, and I'd rather just not get in it because I feel for her as a friend, and it angers me because your mom shouldn't act that way with a child, and then what, the things you do you shouldn't be doing to your mom. One of y'all got to stop. So just I'd rather not dip my toes in that water.
Okay. In the process of all that, you told me about some of the things with your mom, and did you see that in the relationship with your wife and your ex-wife, and had a better understanding of what was going on due to your experience in that same area?
Can you elaborate on that? Because
Uh, Due to you having experienced that same area with your mother, when the situation came up with your wife and her mother.
I got you. Okay, see, but that's a male to female and a female to female thing, right?
Uh-huh.
Like a guy and a girl arguing, even if it's mom and child, dad, son, and mom, like there's a difference there, and it doesn't run so deep to where it's like I'm going to just be bitter because I want to be better, I want to be right. Now I'm not saying it makes men any better. After a while, we're just like, you know what, I'm not going to win this, and I'll just stop talking because I see somebody needs to stop.
Okay.
They don't. They
Okay.
they don't, and I mean, they on even on a good day with them too. Like it's I did this, well, I did that. Well, I did this, and it's always who got to be better. So it works the same way when they're being negative with each other, like who can tear the other one down more and more before they're both nothing. And that's too much toxicity to be into all around,
Okay.
even over the phone from a few thousand miles away.
I completely understand. So, can you tell me a little bit more about how you are? I just need you to just open up and just express to me how you feeling about everything at this point.
Some days it's tough, Some days it's like I still back to the same feeling of like what am I getting accomplished? But then I gotta stop and look and realize that you don't get leaps and bounds in a day. They come in increments, and you gotta remember to just keep trudging through.
Right.
But most of the time, I'm in a genuinely good mood. I wake up in a good mood. I wake up fairly, have my back aches, but that's getting old. I don't really have negative or bad days. Like say, is this when too many things happen in a row? Like too many like shutdowns, or like, well, I really was trying this and it didn't work out. And, oh, that didn't work out. And it don't necessarily mean with people. It's just me trying to better me. That gets aggravating.
Right.
And that frustration I can't get rid of because it's me. I can't just be like, well, that's their problem. And be like, no, it's my problem. So, it frustrates me sometimes. But now that I've got my credentials and work's going amazing, and I work with great people, it's better.
Right.
Now, before that, it was just trying to fill in the time. Like, what am I going to do? I gotta twiddle my thumbs because that's just the world we live in nowadays. You can't get nothing accomplished without having to wait a little bit. But that waiting process was like it's irritating. It's really irritating.
Right. I completely understand. I can elaborate with you a little bit about my understanding of that waiting process.
Mm-hmm.
It was very difficult at the same time with me when regaining my life again. And in the process of that, I was so used to always doing for this one, doing for that one, doing for this one. And then, like at the end of the day, I hadn't really gotten anything accomplished for myself. And then now I'm frustrated and angry with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same understanding I'm getting from you?
I would say that, but more on the like, I recognize that I'm doing this for everyone else. But now that I'm not doing this for everyone else, I have the time to focus on me or the 1-2 people I deem worthy to help. But then with all this extra time focusing on me is all the extra time of twiddling my thumbs because you can get something done, but then you have to wait for someone's response. Or you put all your chips in your eggs in a basket, and then someone else drops the basket on the way to the store.
Right.
Like I was trying to get on with this pawn shop. Perfect example. Did all the paperwork they told me to do. The guy's in my face shaking my hand. It's good. You got the job. And then I don't know what happened. Like one day we went from that to I had never seen him no more. And I got to talk to this guy who I never even knew was in the building. And then now I need another resume, even though a resume came with the first application. Okay. Those type of frustrations.
Okay.
And then now I'm home with that extra time, and I sit and stew. Because I'm like, well, what did you do wrong, Martel? And once you get to the end of it, like you didn't do nothing wrong, you can't help but feel frustrated because you're just wanting to better yourself.
Okay.
And the world's stopping you. It's not you.
Right. Well, from what I'm hearing you explain to me, and I want to make sure I'm understanding you, is it like you're trying to achieve these things, and they idle time is getting the best of you sometimes. That's where patience is being built. Is it helping? It's helping manifest your true character at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
In the same aspect, while this is going on, you begin to recognize the indifference in yourself. Is it the indifference of I don't like that about myself, or the difference that I like this about myself? And it's helping you balance together the whole of Martel.
I'm picking back up on old hobbies.
Okay.
And new ones. I started rock collecting. Didn't know I liked doing that. But I'm getting back into wanting to watch my shows and read the stuff that I used to read. So I mean I'm taking that negative energy and trying to put it into something positive that I used to enjoy doing, or finding new things to do.
Okay.
Because you can't get rid of energy. It doesn't go nowhere. They never dissipate. It has to change into something else.
Right.
So you can sit on that negative, oh man, or pick up the weights, go outside and watch the sunset, draw a picture. try to beat your old score on a video game. Not too much of that per se, but just something else.
Right.
Watch a documentary about your history, your people, or just another documentary. It never hurts to learn something you might not never need to know, but the one time you do need to know it, you know what? I watched a documentary on that. Bam.
Right. Right. You were telling me that you recently came across a book that you always did enjoy reading. Yeah, you brought it with you.
If y'all can't read it, Thick Face, Black Heart. It's not as bad as it sounds. It shows you how to deal with life on a day-to-day basis. And the other book I didn't bring with me is Conversations with God. I recommend everyone read that.
Okay.
Everybody. And even if you don't believe in God, agnostic, whatever, read that book.
Can you tell me one thing out of the book that has really struck you hard? That
Everything anyone does, the book says exactly any attack someone commits against you is a cry for help. What I get is anything, whether it's a direct attack physically or a verbal abuse or naysaying about you while you're not there, anything someone does against you is them crying for help.
okay.
And that brings such a universal sense of treat those the way you want to be treated, even though you're carrying your hurt.
Okay.
Because if you're hurting, why put it on someone else?
Okay.
And once I've got past that part, I'll walk around, right? There's people whose hair does not look good. Their clothes don't look good. But you know what? Man, I really like your shirt. Hey, you know what? Your hair is really pretty. And I do that with one mindset. That person could be one bad thought away from I want to go home and do something to myself. And then you know what? They'll go home now and be like, that guy really, that is a nice shirt. And then the next day they'll go out and they'll be like, hey, you know what? I like your shoes. And it makes a ripple effect. It may seem small, but the littlest rock makes the biggest waves and it goes across the ocean.
Well, I want to express to you that I truly have been enjoying having these sessions with you. You're a very bright young man. I recognize that there's been some hurts, some letdowns, and it came to the point it started to alter who you really are. But you've developed the concept, the understanding that this is not who I am, and this is not what I'm going to be. And the fact that you're recognizing that and you're trying to reestablish or regain yourself again, I completely applaud you for that. And you also indicated to me that you've been forced to have these idle times. Um, from my own personal experience, those idle times can be very beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
They are the nook and cranny of you fully focusing and seeing through the process. Because when you're always in motion, you don't take the time to. I'm not. When I say you, I'm talking openly.
Mm-hmm.
One doesn't take the time to completely focus on every little step.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you many a times, it takes a seed to build for a tree. It takes something small to create something big. So small things are very important and they're integral in every operation of life. So those idle times can be your time of perseverance, clarity, understanding, peace, recognition, focus. Continue. You could go on. There was a list of things,
Mm-hmm.
but those idle times are very important. But again, you said with the world forces on you, how the world may hinder you in your process of things. At the same aspect, it it may seem that way, but it could be our creator just slowing you down a little while. Just slow down a little while. Really think through these steps before you make the next. Because if we keep making steps and not paying attention to those slowdown periods, we may take the wrong step. I just want to kind of express that to you a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more because I see you going in the right path. You're working hard on building your life up again, and I want to see you continue to do that.
I'm trying. But that's all you can ever expect from anybody. You know, just keep trying.
Right.
You don't stop. Even if you make an inch today, that's more than we were yesterday.
Right. So would you say I'm proud of myself?
No, no. I'm not down on myself, like
Okay.
not in the least bit. But I know I'm capable of so much more. I'm proud of the momentum I'm gaining.
Uh-huh.
Proud of myself. I don't think I'll ever be there, and I'm not saying it in a bad sense because once you like a person said I'm proud of me, it's like in my mind it's like a connotation like there's no more to gain, and
Okay.
I don't believe a person's going to stop until it's their day to go home. When
Okay.
God calls you home, that's the last day you go learn something. Every
That's
day
your
you get
moment.
up, keep on going.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna stop the session right now on the video, and Mr. Leon and I will continue going. Anyway, thank you so much, and God bless.
There you go.